Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by my channel today. I am very excited and a little nervous for this one. Today we are doing the mystery build your own palette, or have someone else build it for you rather. So today's palette is marking the 2-year anniversary of this series. My friend Kara from Beauty and the Frizz and I started this series 2 years ago in hopes of using our single shadows more, having these themes every month, and being able to create a curated set of shadows to get to enjoy has really been fun, and I hope that you've all enjoyed being along for the ride. And along the way, we've had some great creators hop in on this series, so I will make sure to have everyone linked down below that I know that's doing this. I know for sure that Mel by Grace and Lock Maiden are doing this one, and if there's anyone else, of course, I will include them down below. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. So what we decided for this month is that every person who wanted to do this would have another person in their life, or people in their life, build them a 10-pan palette. That's like literally the only rule, if you will, that we've had during the series, is that you pick out 10 shadows for your palette. And we don't take a peek until we sit down to start using the palette. So I have mine here, and I actually had my fiance Jeromi go ahead and pick out shadows for me, and I'm really excited to see this. He is quite creative and I think has a pretty good eye for color. That being said, I think sometimes sometimes he has to be, you know, like I said, he has to be curated a little bit. So he's usually very visionary, like, and I'm sort of like, okay, let's take bits of that and rein it in, just even from like our home life of design and, you know, creating spaces for a rental and everything. So I'm just like, this is gonna be an interesting one. So what I did was I brought out all of my eyeshadow palettes and all of my single eyeshadow palettes and brought them down into our living room, and he just sat on the floor and got to pick out his 10 shades. I did not peek. We had a little bit of a conversation as he was getting started, but I did not see him pick any of the shadows. So I'm going to show you a little bit of him just as we were getting all the shadows out. And then I just sort of like went off and was doing my own thing for a bit. So I have not seen this palette yet. I have kept it under wraps. I'm very excited to unveil it with all of you here on camera. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and see that little clip of Jeromi getting started. And then I think I'm going to do 2 looks for this video. I think, you know, it'll just be a fun way to get to see the potential in this palette. And then maybe we'll see if we can bring Jeromi back at the end. Okay, so we got cocktails, space call, lots and lots of eyeshadow. So Jeromi's,
good times.
Right.
This is how we do it.
This is how we do it
tonight.
So this, you'll put your 10 shadows in. Obviously it's more than big enough. And then all of these palettes in here you can pick. So there's no rules. Okay. And you can pick whatever you want. So you can pull everything out. You might want to just like take it all out so you can see it. Oh, I think I put my magnetic grabber in here too for you.
So I picked 10 colors that I like or whatever. I don't even have to like them.
No, you don't have to like them.
I could just sabotage you.
Correct.
Or whatever.
Sure.
Why would I do that? A movie that's been on my mind a lot is The Wizard of Oz, because I grew up watching that movie, and there was always, even as like a little kid, there was a lot of symbolism. Yeah. For me. About like people working together and like we can achieve this and and all of that. So I'm kind of like thinking like Wizard of Oz vibes.
I like that idea.
I think it's a movie that should be redone by the masters of the masters.
You did a double take there.
Well, I'm looking for scary monkeys.
Oh, okay.
Because you can't. Those things terrified me when I was a little.
Seriously, that was the scariest part of the movie.
But seriously, I remember like gathering around the TV, and we'd all just like watch a movie we've all watched together. And
it was pretty magical.
I miss that.
Yeah. You can't pick anything out yet because I'm here seeing it. So should I?
No. Help me.
I can't. I literally cannot.
Oh my God.
I know.
There's a lot here.
There is a lot.
And this isn't even This is just what I'm allowed to see, right?
No, I pulled everything out.
So this is all your eyeshadow?
This is all my single eyeshadows.
that's the technicality right there. Well, it's all my single eyeshadows. Yes. Correct.
It's not a technicality. It's like literally.
No, it's not a technicality. You don't need to justify it. It's just funny. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're making fun of me and I'm not.
So, fair question, I believe.
Yeah.
What, out of all of these palettes that are single eyeshadow, right? Mm-hmm. So just because it's in here doesn't mean it came, like that's not, you're just using this box.
Correct.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So these are like reusable?
Yeah. They're all just magnetic.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I used to think the packaging was kind of ridiculous, but if you can actually like reuse that?
Yeah, they just come in those little envelopes. And oh, that's not eyeshadow. I'll take those big pans. Yeah. Well, I guess technically there a couple of those are eyeshadow, but
oh, those are intense.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other questions?
So are these like palettes you've made just because?
No, they're by brand. They're all separated by brand right now.
Wow. Do you have a favorite? What's your favorite palette? Favorite 2 or 3?
Okay, so the one up to right there, up one over. So that's all Divina greens. So I do love me some Divina.
Yep, I know that. Yep. Hi, Divina.
So that's a good one. Those mattes that are over there are also Divina. These are Sydney Grace mattes and shimmers. Those are also really awesome. That's the brand that has their big Christmas and July sale right now. And the Cleona ones that are up there, that's what, up one more, that's what I got at the Polish and Beauty Expo when I went with Liz. So those are some favorites. I mean, there's so many brands, like, I mean, my Terra Moons are great. There's just so many. I can't necessarily pick one that I love.
These represent.
Sure. Glam Shop's really great. Those are the ones from Poland. Those are the ones that you put on that Divina palette right there. So honestly, there's like literally nothing. I can't just pick. It's too hard. I can't really pick. So just surprise me. Anything else before I let you go and have at it?
No.
Okay. All right, so now you've seen the vision of this palette. So I'm very curious to see what Jeromi has done here. I was really kind of hoping that maybe I could get him to sit down with all of you and just sort of go shade by shade as to why he picked what he did. But honestly, it's just been super busy and, you know, I'm grateful to him for even taking time to sit down and like pick out all the shades. So maybe if I can, after I do the looks, I'll have him come back and see what he thinks, and then maybe he can give us a little thought, and we'll see how I interpreted his vision versus how he did. So I did tell him I was going to try to use all 10 shades. I don't have any promises here because I haven't seen it yet, but that's why I want to do 2 looks. So are we ready? Okay, I'm gonna gosh, I'm so nervous. Okay, I'm gonna zoom you guys in and then we'll get going on this. Okay, so the palette. So for those of you that didn't see on my Instagram stories, I told Jeromi, I was like, oh, you're gonna have to put a piece of paper above the shadows because the palette is clear and I don't want any like spoilers. So make sure you put a piece of paper in there. And he set it on my vanity here. And look, he wrote me a sweet little note. I love you. So I love you too, babe. We'll see if I still feel that way once we open this up. Okay, nervous. Wizard of Oz. So before I even open this up, I'm expecting a red sparkly shadow, Dorothy's shoes. I'm expecting something kind of green and grungy for the flying monkeys. Something green. Were the monkeys green or were they brown? Or were they kind of like gray brown? I literally don't even know. I was kind of traumatized by that scene. Anybody else? And then of course something like, you know, sort of Wicked Witch green. And then maybe something light and like Glinda the Good Witch. Okay, we're gonna see here. Oh, okay, so, okay. Okay. I know where he's going with this. So I remember he had said, he's like, I'm gonna just pick 6 and 6 and you can throw out 2. And I was like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. So I know where he was going with this now, I feel like. Okay, so he did say, by the way, because I was telling him, I gave him the magnet. Sorry, there's probably all sorts of suspense, but I gave him my little magnet to pick up the shadows, and I said, you just have to be very careful because sometimes like the magnet can be really strong and like yank on a palette and like, you know, cause some damage sometimes. So he did say, he was like, one of the shades did crumble a little bit when I did that. So I can just kind of like press it back in. Oh, maybe I can't press it in. Hold on. We're gonna just kick off that little bit of shadow that was in there. Okay, well, let's get going here. So I'm gonna show you, I can definitely tell where he went with this. So these are our shades we have. I had a feeling this one was gonna be in here because he saw these and he was like, whoa, those look really interesting. And to be honest, I haven't used this one. This is one of the Odens Eye multi-chromes. This one actually I don't think is a multi-chrome, but this is a good reason to use this today. So you can definitely see that he's got some like, okay, we've got like the Wicked Witch of the West and Dorothy, and then we've got like Glinda down here. This is how I'm sort of seeing this. So I mean, I think that's gonna have to be how we go about it. Okay, I also see an iridescent multi-chrome in here, and I know for a fact that Jeromi did not go through and swatch. Like, he got sparkle all over him, but he was talking about some of these, and I was like, well, you can swatch them. He's like, no, that's scary, or that's terrifying, or something like that. So let's go ahead and go through these. I'm gonna go through the Glinda side first, but I see this iridescent multi-chrome, and I'm gonna start with this one because I have a feeling it's gonna be maybe a bit different than what he thought, because we all know how that goes. All right, are you ready? So this first shade is Astral, and this is from Terra. Try to get that to focus there. I, of course, will give you swatches, and I always try to do some zoomed in swatches as well. And I just have a feeling that this one's going to be a little bit different. Maybe he did touch this one. I'm not quite sure. But you know how sometimes like they just don't quite come out the way that you think they're going to? Like every single time I do an iridescent multi-chrome, I'm like, okay, I need to like literally put that on my finger first and then see what it's gonna look like. So I'm gonna actually just zoom you in just a little bit more here so we can see this up close. So again, this is Astral, and this shade really has a beautiful shift. Hoping you can see it there. You might be able to see that right there. Maybe if I turn this down just a smidge, just for these multi-chromes. So it really has a, I would say like lime green. It's more red than pink, but it's a reddy pink, and then a like gold or yellow to it. That's really pretty. Okay, that's going to be the only multi-chrome in this little set. So then the one that sort of like took a little chip out of it, this might be a Pretties for your face. Yeah. Oh, this is so funny because I use this one. I've used this one several times in palettes before. So this is Cham Cham from Pretties for your face, and I totally get why it just got like a little tiny piece out of it over here. These ones can tend to be just a little bit flaky, but honestly, Cham Cham, once you work with it, like once it's on a brush or if you use your finger, it really does smooth out very nicely. So we shouldn't have a problem here. So I also have to say, as I'm like going through here and swatching these, Jeromi was like, that was really hard. He's like, there's so many fun like sparkle shades, and I'm not quite sure what they're gonna look like because they have so many colors. He's like, and I didn't really like any of the mattes at all. Like he just wanted to pick out all fun sparkle shades, and I did tell him like, please, like that was the one sort of like coaching thing. I was like, please just include some mattes. You kind of need some mattes for balance. And it's so interesting because in our creation at home, like just like setting things up, he always loves juxtaposition. So I thought for sure he'd want some, you know, mattes and some shimmers, because there are times where he's like, no, I want a flat paint if we're gonna like gloss up the wood or this or that. And I'm like, okay, so I was really interested to hear him say, he's like, I didn't want to do any of the mattes. But anyway, so this is Cham Cham. I actually did just put this in a recent palette, so you've seen it recently. It's just a beautiful, like, shimmery, pearly pink. Definitely very Glinda the Good Witch. Ooh, oh my gosh, this one totally... Oh no, oh no! Okay, I might have to get a new Cham Cham because it totally just started, like, busting in the palette. Oh, tragedy! Ah, okay, okay, hold on. I'm gonna take care of this really quick. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but I just went to tip this pan into the garbage to like get out the little like bits, and most of the pan just fell right out. Luckily, you know, Pretties for Your Face has some great sales, and with my code KEEPBEAUTYREAL, you can save an extra 20%. So I will definitely be utilizing my own code at some point to replace this shade because it is a very pretty one. Okay, moving on. So let's go into the one matte on this side. This is the shade Mint Cream, and this is a Glam Shop shade. So I'm wondering if this one was in one of the palettes that I have. It looks like I've swatched the shade, but I don't know if I have actually used it. Very pretty. Just a beautiful like aqua shade. I'll have a lot of fun using this one, and I think it coordinates with these pretty well. So we'll go ahead and pop this one right underneath. Now, the Glam Shop mattes are very soft and powdery, so I do find that they don't always like swatch the best, but they do perform on the eye pretty well. They're definitely like that buildable formula. This is really pretty so far. Good job, baby. All right, then for the next one, this is lovely. So this is another Glam Shop shade. This is the shade Grace. And I'm sure that you saw, I probably put it in here, but in the beginning, like I think Jeromi was just really overwhelmed with all of the options. So he sort of asked me like, what are your favorites? And I was like, oh my gosh, it is way too hard to pick that. So I sort of, you know, I was just like, they're all special to me. But I think he did try to like go into a few of the palettes that I sort of had, you know, talked about. So, but I do think that he tried to go into some of the palettes that I pointed out to maybe pick out some that I'd have fun with, which is appreciated. So this is the shade Grace. Gosh, this is really pretty, but I don't know that I've used this one a lot. So thank you, babe, for picking this one. Maybe you'll be able to see it here for sure, hopefully in the zoomed in swatches, but this is a beautiful like rose gold with a little bit of mauve to it, but it has a lot of sparkle to it. I'm wondering if this is one of the velvet shadows. So the velvet shadows had almost like a satin base, but then tons and tons of shimmer and sometimes like a shiftier shimmer over the top. And this one definitely has that more like coppery, pinky, rose gold shimmer over the top. This is very pretty. This is definitely sort of like Glinda vibes. He did a really great job there. See, I told you guys, he's really creative. Okay, so now into the challenging side. It is good. It is good that he kind of like, you know, gave me a couple options to go, but like, other than that, I don't know how I would combine these two together. We will have to see. I might have to do some combining. Anyway, let's go ahead and we're just going to do this. I'm stalling. So let's get into what I would say is the Dorothy versus the Wicked Witch side. All right, so let's start out with the Odens Eye shade. This is Leon or Leon, but I'm pretty sure it's Leon. And as you can tell, because most of the basket weave embossing is still here, I have not used this shade yet. I kept like waiting. I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this for like a Valentine's Day look, for, you know, maybe like, I don't know, something around Halloween. I just didn't know, but look at that. It is really beautiful. I think, you know, a lot of us, when we got this shade, we were like, it's not a multi-chrome though. It's definitely not a multi-chrome. It really is almost like a black base with a ton of micro sparkle over the top. I have not used this one yet. I'm excited to see how it performs. I've heard mixed reviews on this one. Okay, so here is a Glam Shop shade. I have a feeling that this might have been from the Paprika palette, but regardless, it is still in Polish, which I am not great at. So I'm gonna say this is NIE-ЩWIŁTY. Probably butchering that, so sorry. This is just a nice, I would say like tomato red. It is a little bit neutralized. It's not like overly mega saturated. I'm not quite sure how we're gonna do all this, especially, man. So I was actually gonna tell him, you know, he was like, well, what am I supposed to pick? Like, I'm not really sure. Like, how many are you gonna put on? You've worn some crazy combos before. And I literally was going to say like, as long as it's things that can blend together well, I should be fine. And we've literally got red and green, which are opposites on the color wheel. And so it'll get very murky very fast. So he's given me a challenge. All right, so we'll go into this next one. I have actually used this before sometime on my channel, I think. This is such a fun one. This is, oh gosh, it's another one in Polish. So this is a Turbo Plus. So it's actually like a sparkle, but look at that. Yum, yum, yum. So this is the shade Diarska Zieleń. I will write it down below. I have a feeling that this one isn't available anymore, but obviously it's a multi-chrome major high sparkle glitter. This actually almost has, it goes from like that amber and red into green and blue. Like it's got a lot going on. This one is probably not going to spread out. It's almost like a sparkle with a tacky base to it. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit right there. Maybe we'll do just a little bit more so that you can see the full shift. I just don't want to get sparkle everywhere. So this is definitely, there we go. So there you can see, how awesome is that? Like, holy buckets. All right, so then we're gonna move into this shade here. Oh, he went into Sydney Grace. This is the shade To Earth. So just a beautiful, deep, I would say that this shade, I think I remember swatching this just recently for my Sydney Grace collection. By the way, I'll have that link down below in case, oh yeah, this video is going up before the singles sale, so you will be able to see that collection. I'll have that linked. I did separate cream shadow, matte shadow, and shimmer shadows, but this shade To Earth is like a beautiful, I would say it's more satiny, but it's very, very creamy, but it just doesn't have like a high foil. That's a good one right there. He's doing a good job. This next one is one that I've had for quite a while. This I think was one of my first Terra Moons orders. This is Mood Ring. I don't even think that they make this one anymore, but it's obviously a blue into like a green multi-chrome, or I guess duochrome. I don't know, I kind of feel like it's multi-chrome. It's sort of got like a deep and a bright green. So you can see there, it has like that blue into like a, I would say like an emerald and a limey green. Really pretty, almost like a little bit of teal right there. All right, and then our last shade. All right, and then our last shade is another Sydney Grace. This is the shade Green Anjou. This is a beautiful soft lime green. I'm gonna say it's, you know, it's not overly grungy. It's probably, I mean, seriously, especially next to these other ones, it's probably not even gonna really show up. This will definitely be one that I use to like blend out. Yeah, next to everything else, it sort of looks like a whisper. It is a really nice one, though it's something that's probably gonna be really needed for this to be able to blend out some of these other shades, so it's appreciated. All right, here is a peek at these swatches. I think you actually did get a pretty good look at the shift and everything in the, you know, further out view, but hopefully you can see some of like the sparkle in this gray shade. Very pretty. I mean, wow, I love this one so much. I actually love it so much that I went back to try to get another shade in the same formula, and when I did that, they didn't have any available, so I think that they maybe discontinued it. So I think he did a great job doing like Glinda the Good Witch, and then we have some Dorothy, and you know, obviously the Wicked Witch of the West / the Flying Monkeys. So wish me luck. Let's get started on these looks. Okay, without further ado, we're gonna get into these looks. So I think I'm mostly just gonna do voiceover for this part, honestly. You can all just see me struggle as we listen to some music. I'm gonna start with this side. I might as well just go in. That's how I do this. I'm like, you know what? Just get the challenge over first, and then you can move into something light and soft. So let's go right now. If I have any comments, I'm sure I will like insert them as we go. Oh, I'm also glad, by the way, I'm also glad that I have not put on any concealer yet. I did put on a little bit of tinted moisturizer and some warm bronzer. And I was like, there's probably gonna be a lot of sparkle in here. So I did not. So that way I can just kind of like whisk everything away and then rebuild my face. Okay. Okay. So it's a vibe. It's not your everyday eye. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on some mascara. I'm sure that this look could really be bomb with lashes. So we'll see if I feel like popping a lash on. Be right back. All right, here we are. We have our very, very witchy vibes. You know, we got a little Dorothy, but I feel like it's mostly some Wicked Witch vibes. So I did find a pair of lashes. This is just an old pair of Glamnetic lashes. It's the Vixen lash. So I popped those on just to really amplify it. I will probably end up popping on a little bit more makeup. I feel like we should probably just do like a face and a face. So now let's go ahead and do something light and ethereal on this side. I'm having fun doing this. I hope you're having fun being along for the ride. As I am adding a little bit of makeup back to my face after having to wipe some off. I really like this look too. I mean, it's such a different vibe. It is such a different vibe, but I think it's gonna be really pretty once we get maybe some liner and lashes on. Definitely. The one thing was I had to do a little mixology here because I didn't like the way that, what shade is that again? The Terra Moon's Astral. It was so much warmer right here. So I really liked mixing it over the top of this. So it's basically Cham Cham and Astral kind of like mixed, but Cham Cham is over the top here, Astral's over the top here. I think it worked. So now I'm going to go and add some lashes, maybe some liner. We'll see what we do here. And what I'll probably do is finish the rest of my face and come back so you can see the final look. Here we have the final looks. So I'm actually going to zoom you in Kelly, just so that you can see. So I did add the same lashes to this eye. Obviously this eye has black liner and this one has like a nude. I just think that that really makes such a difference in this look. And then the rest of the face, I'll zoom you out in just a second. We can kind of talk about that. I'm not gonna go into what I was wearing because I honestly just like was rooting around. I even did like a split lip, but well, not a split lip, but you know, split lip look. I was thinking of red lipstick for this look, but I just wanted to keep it a little bit softer. I'm hoping Jeromi comes home soon so he can see it while it's still really fresh. He was here for a bit and he dipped out. You'll have to let me know which is your favorite. I love both, actually. I mean, this would be a definite vibe for a certain specific time, right? But you all know that I love like a light ethereal wispy look. I feel like I could see Glinda wearing this makeup. I thought about putting on some highlighter, like a lot of highlighter, because I just feel like that's sort of like good witch vibes. But since this is Jeromi's palette, and I know that Jeromi basically hates highlighter, he is not a huge fan of highlighter on the skin, I kind of wanted to wait so that he could see me without highlighter. Since I know he kind of had a vision. So I think I'm just gonna leave it. I'm really enjoying this. I had a lot of fun with this one. I hope you did too. You'll have to let me know which was your favorite. Do you think that I did this palette justice? How do you think Jeromi did in picking out his shades? I think he did a pretty good job. Like, I think it's definitely a very themed palette, you know, like looking at this now, I mean, you could definitely get a couple different looks out of this, right? I mean, you could pair this iridescent with some of these shades over here. Obviously, you don't have to use the red and the green together. You could even, I think, do a pink and green. Like, I don't know that there's going to be a lot of options with this one, but if I could see this being like a very themed novelty palette. So I had a lot of fun with this. I definitely did. So next month is another suggestion from one of you, and it is going to be All I Need. That is the theme of this palette. So it's not necessarily like a favorites palette. It's just like, hey, I could have these and this would be all I need, right? So that's gonna be really fun, and I think also more difficult. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it's gonna be a difficult one to pick, but that is going to be for next month. So make sure you are subscribed so that you don't miss out on that one. And again, make sure you check out everyone else's videos. I will have everyone linked down below. And if you are a creator and you would like to hop in on this series, please feel free. It is seriously no pressure. Join us when you want, forget about it when you don't. When it's inspiring, do it. When you don't have time, don't even sweat it. Like it's really just all about the fun of it. If you aren't a creator but you still want to share your color story, you can always take a picture of looks or the palette and tag us on Instagram. I'm KEEPBEAUTYREAL and Kara is Beauty and the Frizz, just like we are here on YouTube. All right, lovelies, that is going to be it. If I haven't had time to get Jeromi in here, I'm going to close out right now. Otherwise, we will finish this off with his thoughts. Thanks so much. I'll see you really soon.